Okay, welcome to our webinar today. And it's good to have you along. Just in case you're joining us for the first time, we plan to keep you for no more than 1 hour tops. So during this presentation, we will have a series of polls to find out what you actually think. Claudia, I don't know if you can advance to the next slide, if possible. Thank you. You're invited to send in your questions and comments at any time, and we've allowed some time at the end to go through these. If we don't manage to get around to your question during that allotted time, Leandro and Claudia have agreed to answer and publish them as Q&A. The webinar will be recorded and uploaded onto YouTube. The presentation will be uploaded to SlideShare, and details of how you can obtain these will be sent out to you along with a short survey shortly after the webinar. We're also going to publish an article, including any useful background, references, etc., on the APM site. So a little about me, your host. I'm Merv Wyeth. I'm a volunteer committee member on 2 APM specific interest groups. Those are Benefits Management and ProgM. I'm particularly interested in creating business value from events, what I call event ROI, and this webinar is a collaborative effort. As something of an aside, let me give you a quick infomercial. So, Benefits, ProgM and Value Management SIGs are going to be hosting APM's inaugural Benefits Summit. I don't know if we can switch to slide 4, thank you very much. This will take place on the 23rd to the 25th of June, and it comprises 2 workshops, first of all in Milton Keynes and then in London, 23rd and 24th, an executive briefing with Bacon Butties in Westminster on the 24th, and then a full-day conference on the 25th of June, so 4 events over 3 days. The Summit Conference represents truly great value, 6 fantastic speaker sessions and a choice of 2 from 6 facilitated workshops. There are some spaces left, so book your place as soon as possible. Ideally, straight after this webinar before going back to work. So today's topic. I was recently perusing several benefits management groups on LinkedIn, and I happened upon an article from the International Journal of Business Management. That article is called the Pereira Diamond Benefits Management Framework, and it's worth a read. It's very good. Thankfully, it was in English, as my Portuguese language skills are non-existent. I had planned to get Claudia and Leandro to come along to the Benefits Summit, but they're not available. And then I had a light bulb moment. Let's organise a webinar instead. So hopefully they're going to be able to answer some of the questions posed in the synopsis. Why are innovation initiatives key to business growth and sustainability? Despite well-advanced project management techniques, why do most projects still fail to achieve the benefits described in the business case? How much are your initiatives' benefits worth? What monetary value do they represent? And how can we guarantee that 2 different people or teams under the same circumstances will reach the same conclusion? They will argue, I think, that business cases and benefits management should play a key role in supporting executive teams in making appropriate management decisions that optimize the creation of value. The Pereira Diamond model, and wouldn't you just love to have something named after you, addresses the benefits rationale and principles required to develop successful business cases. So a quick introduction to our speakers, who will tell you more about themselves, I'm sure. Leandro Pereira is the CEO and founder of Winning Management Consulting. He's president of PMI Portugal chapter and a recognized author. Leandro has been responsible for the conception, design and implementation of management solutions in dozens of companies. During his academic year, he's received several distinctions such as Best Professor at the Executive Masters in Project Management. Claudia Teixeira is a business case consultant at Winning Management Consulting. She's responsible for projects from sectors such as banking, insurance, IT and telecommunications. Claudia trains others in benefits management and business case topics and is currently undertaking a master's degree specializing in business management and benefits management. Her dissertation thesis aims to identify business case gaps in organizations and make recommendations based on worldwide good practice. Leandro and Claudia, and I apologize for the pronunciation on the names, you are most welcome. It's great that you're able to join us today. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Merv. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. We would like to thank APN for the opportunity and the invitation for this presentation today. So, as Merv said, my name is Claudia, and I'm here together with Leandro.
Hello, everyone.
And we truly hope that you'll find our presentation useful. Regarding our agenda, we will have our main presentation taking about 45 minutes. So we will make a context, then we will jump into the benefits management topic, then we'll go into the Pereira diamond model, then we will give an explanation about what scientific business case is, and finish with a brief summary. We will give you a couple of minutes at the end for a few questions or any doubts that you may have. So we would like to start with a sentence from Rupert Murdoch. He says that the world is changing very fast. Big will not beat small anymore. It will be the fast beating the slow. So this sentence is actually fantastic to represent what is the current challenges from the current organizations. So it's not about the company dimension, it's not about the company size that will determine a company's success, but actually how fast we can get, how fast we can reach to the market. So that means that we must need to have the ability to listen to the market continuously. We need to have the ability to listen to the company continuously and convert that information into valuable projects. So we may actually have an excellent idea, but if we fail to deliver it within the time to market, then we may compromise our business growth. So this is the main message we would like to leave for now. We also bring you some statistics from some surveys taken recently, and where we can see that 54% of the respondents in a UK survey says that the primary driver of their projects are the cost reduction. So this just shows that organizations are too focused on cost control measures, on cost reduction, and sometimes we as business managers forget what our first mission is. We as a primary driver should be focused on creating wealth, and yes, on a second level, be worried about controlling costs, optimizing costs when possible. On the second example, you see that there was a survey taken by the Professor Cotter in Harvard Business School, where up to 70% of the change initiatives fail to deliver on the benefits that they set out to achieve. So this just shows the frustration in most of the projects and how the benefits delivery fail very often. On the third point, you can see that around 40% of respondents answered that their organizations have weak benefits focus. So these overall numbers can show us how critical it is to change our mindsets across organizations, along, of course, with the governance practices. The next slide, as you can see, shows the main 4 stages of a product life cycle. So it's composed for the introduction, when we launch the product, then we have the growth period where we gain more market share up to the maturity level, and then, of course, the decline period. And as you can see, a few decades ago, the lifetime would take about 8 years, and nowadays, especially the products technology-based, are around 3 years. So, for instance, if we are a mobile phone company and we launch a new mobile phone, probably in 3 years' time it's completely outdated. So we will need to relaunch a new product, an updated version, so we keep our business running. So there are a lot of phenomena that are leading to this decrease on the product life cycle. One of it is the globalization. So we are now competing not only in our country or in our city, we are competing worldwide. We are going beyond borders. So borders are not a barrier anymore, so the competition is tough, is hard. Another point is the technological innovation. Technology is advancing on an almost daily basis, and we need to be kept up to date regularly. Otherwise, again, we stay outdated. There is even a phenomenon called techonomy, which exactly explains how economy is so much based in technology nowadays. If you think, we actually, to even interact and speak with our clients, we are dependent on technology nowadays. Another phenomenon is the planned obsolescence, where probably most of you have already faced it as customers. And this is when manufacturers program the product's life cycle on purpose to leverage their sales, to leverage the consumerism, of course, and keep their sales going on. The fourth one we point out is the social networking power. Basically, the word of mouth is strong, and easily any customer can just go to a social network and express their satisfaction or dissatisfaction about a certain product or service. So we need to, the message over here is that we need to keep on reinventing and regenerating our business models and strategies, because in fact, if we stop, we will die. The following graph shows the evolution about the capital expenditure in the last few years. So first of all, to understand what Capex is the capital expenditure. This is the budget that is aimed for new capital projects, for innovation, for the continuous change in our company. So it's through this budget, it's through Capex, that the company can give energy to its projects and can fulfill its strategic movement. But it's important to highlight there is another type of budget, as we call operational expenditure, or OPEX, which is aimed to daily operational activities. So it's the budget required to follow the company processes, to sell the products or the portfolio services, so basically to keep the business running. So in a business case context, or even and of course benefits management related, we will be more focused on what Capex is. I would like you now to take 1 minute to read this cartoon, and we'll get back on this. So maybe some of you have been in this situation or have seen it in the past. So this is actually a current issue in several organizations, and we typically call it as optimism bias, where basically the benefits of the potential project are consciously or unconsciously inflated. So in order to secure their approval, to secure the funding we require to go ahead with it. So that just shows that it's not followed a robust process, and consequently, of course, not realizable. So this will completely lead to a benefits fraud, and typically there is no responsibility held by those who inflated these potential benefits, leading to a project failure. There are two concepts that are very, very important to distinguish when we are talking about benefits management and the business case. One is expectation, another one is the estimation. So basically, as the word expectation says, that's something that we aim, it's something that we would wish to get, it's something that we expect. In this case, what we would like a project to get. But another thing is an estimation. And estimation requires, it goes beyond what common sense is. Typically, expectation is based in our perception, in our desires, in our professional experience. But estimation means that we need a set of tools and techniques that are appropriate to the purpose we are analyzing, that will accurately estimate what will be the future benefits. So the data needs to be collected from the process, and this is the principle of scientific management, and not from the personal feeling, desire, expectation or point of view. So the main message to keep over here is that if a different person applies the same process, he or she will get exactly to the same conclusions. So the results will depend on the process and not on the person that is actually evaluating it. The next topic now is more focused on benefits management subjects. And we also bring you here another sentence from Peter Drucker. And it says that efficiency is doing things right, effectiveness is doing the right things. So making the bridge over here to our topic, efficiency is linked to project management, to manage the projects right. For example, within the triple constraint, within the scope, within the costs, within the schedule that we planned. Effectiveness, on the other hand, it's about making the right projects, and this is where business case and benefits estimation play a key role. And sometimes we are too focused in managing the projects right, and sometimes we miss the first critical step, which is firstly choose the right projects. There is another topic we would like to share with you, which is the perception of value of things. And typically, if you think about it, the value we give to things is much higher before we get something, or the asset we need, or after we lose it. For instance, if you think, like, have you ever thought about the value of your computer mouse? Imagine that you have a really complex Excel to work on, and you actually forget your mouse at home, and of course you cannot go back to pick it up. It will probably take you much longer to do exactly the same task you are used to. So we tend to give more value before we have something or after we're losing it. So the value is not in the asset itself, but by the effect it generates. Following this logic to projects, for example, we might have a project and we intend to increase our clients number, increase our clients retention, reduce internal costs. But in fact, what we really want to collect is the ultimate effect collected from this project. So we will need to go one more level further, where we will be able to instantiate the effects of our project in our business, in our economic value. For example, reduce commissions, reduce costs with advertising, reducing commercial costs. Of course, further ahead, when we will present the Pereira diamond, we will be able to see more concrete examples on this. So the message here is that value of things is measured by the effects generated and not by what they are or represent. And this is the way that we will be able to easily identify your project benefits and, of course, quantify them. Otherwise, it will be very challenging, very difficult. Another tool we'd like to present is the time budget box, which is used to calculate benefits and define costs in a closed time frame. So actually, without having a clear benefits estimation and benefits quantification, there should be no investments, because otherwise there will be no limit to the budgets, right? So if the budget can overtake the benefits and exceed the limits to which the initiative would be economically interesting, then we take the risk of failing the initial purpose. This slide shows you a couple of examples of how we should present our benefits. So we are in the scenario as is. We want to reach a to be in the future, so we can present our benefits in a positive or negative way. Positive because we are leveraging an opportunity, leveraging something good. So we'll, for example, we can increase our invoicing, increase our retention, clients retention, increase productivity of our teams. Or on the other hand, we can reduce something negative. For example, reduce the non-compliance fees with a new process, for example, or new standard. We can reduce waiting times. We can reduce rework. So this is just a few examples about how we can present our benefits. Another important point is that a business requirement is composed by two things. The project scope, where we are aiming to fulfill a certain need, for example, optimize the process with the computer support, but also the business impact generated from this project. For example, reduce the time of employees, reduce the rework, reduce the non-compliance. So this is just something important to have in mind before we jump into the next topics. Another critical point here is when we aim to estimate benefits and, of course, the return on investment from our initiative, we must to take a picture of the situation today, of our as is, because if we miss this step, it really won't be possible to get the project delta or get a benchmark measure to evaluate the improvements leveraged by our project. On a second stage, we need to make a benefits plan where we should identify the techniques we require to estimate the critical variables, or in other words, the variables that are unknown and that we are predicting for the future. On a third stage, and that very often is neglected is the tracking, the results tracking during the project exploitation, so we understand if what we actually estimated is being realized. The next slide just shows a couple of benefits parameters, so we can actually quantify economically how much benefit represents to the business. So in a cost perspective, we have, for example, employee cost per hour, wasting hours, space cost per square meter. And there are a set of techniques we can use since historical methods, experience methods, or interrogative methods. And for example, through observation, through simulation, through finance reports we can check on. On the other hand, for business-related metrics, we have, for example, how much is a client worth per month on a specific segment? How much, what is our churn rate at the moment? What is the average time a client stays with us? And then we can, how can we get it? Well, we can do through market studies, through surveys, through interviews, through benchmarking. So we really have to be able to use the right techniques to collect this information. And avoid, of course, any kind of assumptions, which is one of the biggest problems in organizations nowadays. So just quickly, Pareto Principle is one of the important topics while making benefits management. As you can see here, the biggest the project is, the lower is the success rate. And for the ones that doesn't know, Pareto was an Italian economist who developed the theory of 80-20, where he says that 80% of the wealth of a GDP country is generated from 20% of the population. The same principle applies in the project management. So we should be focused on the few critical and not on the many and critical. So we should always pick up or identify up to 3 benefits that our initiative will deliver. And actually another technique that would be very useful to validate the scope is the in-out scope technique, where we can actually ask ourselves, well, what happens if I remove a piece of this scope? If we actually get the answer that nothing happens, then we should remove it, because otherwise we can be compromising what would be our ROI. So we need to configure our initiative to potentiate and leverage the benefits and control the costs required, and avoid, of course, these kind of things in organization. Oh, by the way, we could add this component that would be very useful to do this and that, and of course then it just doesn't go along anymore with the initial purpose of the project. So now I would like to hand over to Merv for the first poll question, please.
Okay, so here's the poll question. Is there anyone accountable for the benefits management process in your company? It's a straight yes or no, so just click the radio button and we'll see what we get in terms of that. So accountability in your organization. Just so you know, there's something like 160 people on this call, so you're certainly not alone. And in terms of the voting, we're at the 75%. I'll just leave that for a little bit longer, see if we can get over the 80% mark. There, we've done that now. Any last minute votes? Accountability in your organization, you're at the 90% mark. So I'll close that. That's closed, and then I'll share the results. So hopefully you can now see those. And Claudia, I'll leave you to comment on those if you can see them.
Sure. Thank you very much. So as we can see, almost more than 50% answered no, and this shows there is a big space for improvement in our organizations, and it's critical that we start on creating more ownership and accountability for our decisions. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, I've hidden that, so you should be good to carry on.
Thank you, Merv. Regarding the next slides, just to give you an idea about the benefits lifecycle, basically it's composed by 4 main steps. The first one is about strategic planning. So it's critical that our top management defines a strategic plan with specific strategic goals, because without that we don't know and we cannot align our projects to the business goals. The second stage is the benefits estimation. So we need to estimate the potential value of our initiatives. Of course, then the benefits leverage, so the benefits realization during the exploitation period, and then the benefits tracking to monitor and give feedback on how the project is doing, and of course pass it to the top management to make further strategic decisions. We will now move on to the Pereira diamond topic, and I will now hand over to Leandro to present the rest of the presentation.
Hello everyone. So the perspective of how we can create value in a company, you can see 4 dimensions: business growth, cost reduction, efficiency increase, and legal compliance. And let me explain in some detail each one. For example, in the part of business growth, we are focusing in increase our revenues, increase our invoicing. We can do that in 4 perspectives, but when we have a project with business purpose, in fact, we need to identify what kind of business growth we want to achieve. And as you can see in the next slide, I will show you that there are only 4 ways of do it. But in fact, this is the first priority for the company, is to deliver value to the market, to the environment, to the context, to the habitat. So the reason why the company exists is about this perspective. Okay, the second one is about cost reduction, and cost reduction means that we need to decrease our cost. I mean, when we are focusing on this, we need to check our account plan, our accounting in fact, and in the next period, we want to see a decrease in our costs. So we need to be focused that when we are talking about cost reduction, we need to have some decrease in costs. And why this? I will explain the part of efficiency to see difference in concept. So if we are focusing in efficiency, in fact, what we have in the field is release the time of the people. I mean, release capacity, release availability. So if you are doing in this perspective, we will check the next period and the cost is the same. So this is not short term, this is long term, medium long term. So if we compare cost reduction with efficiency, cost reduction means we need to reduce, to cut, to decrease our cost, but efficiency increase, we will not cut salaries, because if we will cut salaries, we will have cost reduction. Typically, when we are implementing a project to optimize a process, for example, we will release some time in our team, 10% for example, 80% for example, etc., and we will not have any kind of cost impact in short term. How we can make some counts? We need to see how many hours we will release in our process that we are, for example, optimization, and we should multiply per the cost of that specific profile or those profiles that we are releasing time. In the last approach or dimension, as you can see, last but not the least, we have the legal compliance. Legal compliance means is not only cost avoidance, is not only to avoid the penalties, is also the part of credibility of the company. But if we can ask ourselves what is the benefit of some projects that we have in a perspective of compliance, in fact, we can ask ourselves what will be the impact if we will not be on that compliance? And the answer will be we need to pay, at least in the first effect, we need to pay some penalties. Okay, so those 4 dimensions are specific, the ways, the unique ways in economic ROI of how we can create value. At the end, what we intend to have is to have the value of the company increase, so the stock price will increase of the company at the end of the period. If we focus on the business growth, we can see that there are only 4 ways of do it. And the first one is very easy to understand, is to attract new clients. So we can have a specific project with the objective of, I want to have more market share, I want to have more clients in my company. So this is a first dimension. And how we can achieve this? Well, some ways, launching new products, entry into new geographies, entry into new segments, or win back again last clients. On the other hand, we can have upselling or we can have cross-selling. This means that we want to increase our client value. So one important question that we need to have an answer is, what is the value of our current clients? And what we want to get at the end with a specific project, we want to increase that value, that specific value. So we can go through an upselling approach, or we can go through a cross-selling approach and sell another kind of products or service to our current clients. At the end, and this is the fourth dimension inside the business growth, we should keep in mind that we have another perspective, this retention. I mean, when a client have a specific value per period, for example, per day, per week, per month, per year, and if the customers, the current ones, are leaving the company, in fact, we are decreasing our value. So we should consider projects that some effects could be specific directly to the effect of client retention. We can work with the current ones, or we can work with the clients that already leave our company in the past. So these four approaches, these four dimensions of benefit in the perspective of business growth are the only ones that we have to create value in a business perspective. I will then explain in the next slides why we should be focused on this. In another perspective that is specific, the internal part of the company is the business case that we can develop in an easier way. We have two perspectives, reducing costs or avoiding costs. In fact, if we see like a timeline, and if we see the past, we implement a project, and our intent, our proposal, our benefit could be decrease our costs. So we are reducing costs. It's very easy, it's very common perspective. But we can have another perspective. For example, if we have some new regulation or new process or new rules to apply in our company, and if we do nothing, we will increase our costs. So if we do our project, we can avoid part of all the increase. So when we are implementing a project to avoid part of the new cost, in fact, we are getting a benefit, is avoiding the cost increase. Is the same perspective when we are working with time, with the effort of the people, but in this case, we are not affecting the cost of the period. So our account plan in the next period will be the same, because what we are getting, in fact, is we are releasing the time of the people. And releasing the time of the people means our employees, means that the people will use that time to apply to other kind of activities or processes. And our recommendation, our advice here is just to be focused on the first effect. Otherwise, if you go through the second effect, I mean, if you go to ask yourself what will be the use of that hours that we are releasing with our project, maybe we need to get in a second effect 100,000 of new business case, new effects. So the recommendation when you are implementing a project with efficiency purpose, I mean release the time of the people, you should be focused on the first effect. First effect means what is the value, the virtual money is not real money, is virtual money, because what? In the next period you will face the same cost. So with this perspective, we can have a big picture, a holistic one, with the first level of benefits, with ROI, with the perspective of we can create value in our company, economic value, I mean, is not social value, is economic value. With business growth means increase revenue, increase invoicing, with decrease cost, business growth and cost decrease means, in fact, real money. Real money means real profit at the end of the period. Then we have another perspective, means efficiency, means release the time of the persons. And the last one, but not the least, is the avoidance of penalties, or, for example, if we in the past we have or not some penalties, maybe we need to get some average of this penalty multiplying per the probability that we'll have to pay those kind of penalties. So with this, we have the 4 ways of how to create value into a specific company. Now, let me go through a poll question. I will hand over to Merv just to put another question.
Okay, here it is. How often do you estimate your initiative benefits in a quantitative way? That's a quantitative way. I see the voting started. We've still got over 150 people on this poll, so if you can let us know whether it's never, rarely, very often, or always. I can see that we're up to about the 60% mark on voting. We'll just hold that open a little bit longer before we close the vote. We're now at the 80% mark, so last few votes if you would. And okay, so there we are. Let me close that poll and let me share the results. So hopefully Leandro can see those interesting set of results.
Yes, absolutely. So you can see that we have 45% of the answers with rarely, and this means that we have a huge gap just to improve. So with this, I can comment that in fact the companies implement projects, spend money and budget just to achieve something that doesn't have any kind of value in a quantitative way. So I mean, we are implementing projects, we are spending money, but at the end we don't have any kind of, in first moment, an estimation, or at the end, we don't know what will be the ROI that we will get with those kind of initiatives. So we have a huge perspective, just to a gap, just to increase the maturity of the company in doing this. Thank you, Merv. Okay, a very important perspective that we should keep in mind, we must keep in mind, is how we make counts, how we make the calculations of our benefits. And typically what we have is the people put some primitive benefits. So, for example, if we can see these 3 benefits, increase the process quality, and if we want to make some counts on quality, this could be a big problem for all of us, because quality has different meanings in different heads, in different persons. So if we want to make counts on quality, will be completely different. But we can ask, what is the consequence of quality? And if we ask ourselves, what is the consequence, what is the effect of quality, we can answer. And we can answer on Pareto diamond. Reducing the process, rework, do the number of errors. Oh, so here we can make counts. Another example could be, for example, reduce customer or client dissatisfaction or increase satisfaction or something like this. And if you ask yourself how you can make counts in this kind of perspective, the answer will be the same. Well, it's impossible to do it. So if you ask yourself what is the effect that we get from the customer dissatisfaction or satisfaction, we can say that we will increase the client life cycle through a better relationship. So here we can make counts. Again, the third example, I will make a project to increase the employee motivation. So you can try to make counts with employee motivation, but each one will get different results. But if we ask ourselves what will be the effect of motivation, we can say that we'll be reducing the time that we spend, for example, in a specific processes. So again, if we focus and if we try to link our benefits to Pareto diamond, will be completely possible to get the counts and to get the results. And if we apply some processes that we will show you, 2 different persons will reach the same results. Okay? To do this, we need to make some kind of parametric equations. I mean, as Claudia says, we recommend that at maximum with Pareto law have only 3 benefits. So the idea will be, when we are identifying our benefits, we should create the equation that represents our effect. And as you can see, for example, in the first one, increase the number of new clients, we can identify our market share, then we can multiply per the customer entry, and this kind of percentage that, as you can see in the number, is a red one, we will use, for example, a market study just to prove and to get a result of how many people could answer and could get this kind of product. Then we multiply per product price, and then we multiply per the benefit period. So with this, we can have the count, we can have the value at the end. If you try to put the benefit in a primitive way, two different persons will write different equations, and at the end we'll get different numbers. So it will be impossible just to get some accurate numbers at the end. So this is the same in the perspective of cost reduction or optimization. For example, if you see the second benefit here, you can see the number of hours of a specific process per month, for example, then multiplying the percentage of time reduction, then multiplying the cost per hour, and then multiplying per period. And with this, we can get exactly the number. The 40% is the number of our estimates that, for example, could be reached using a prototype or using an old test just to get the number. The idea is to avoid any kind of assumptions. But as you can see, and with this kind of equations, in fact, we have two perspectives. The perspective of the benefit that we want to achieve and the perspective of the cost or the investment. In fact, it's completely important just to make some kind of sensitive analysis. And sensitive analysis means that, for example, I can present a specific project, a project with a benefit of, for example, 500,000 euros or pounds, for example, and this is very conservative, this is very pessimistic. Or I can present the same project with 900,000 euros. And this is a big variance. So we need to standardize, we need to normalize what is the confidence of our estimate, in particular the part of benefits and the part of investment. For example, here what we have is I can present the investment with a specific, a minimum value or a huge value. If I'm going to the maximum one, maybe this project should not go ahead. So if we are not working with a confidence level, maybe two different persons can sell the same project in different ways and completely different perspectives. And at the end, the ROI will be what you want. Has an Excel mania or an Excel process just to guarantee that you put the parameters that you want to achieve the result at the end. So when we get the economics, we can see that we have a minimum in a perspective of ROI. For example, the minimum at least should be greater than 0. We should try to do it, but we have a maximum. So when we present the net present value, the internal rate of return, the benefit cost ratio, and the ROI and payback, we should keep in mind that in fact we need to define what confidence level those economic indicators have. Otherwise, we are presenting a number, but we don't know how that number can variate. And this is completely important just to normalize, to standardize the initiatives in a specific company. Okay, I will hand to Merv again just to another question.
Okay, here we go. Are you aware of your initiative benefits confidence level when presenting the benefits plan? Simple yes or no, awareness of the initiative benefits confidence level. So thank you for your votes. We're up at the 50% mark. That's brilliant. Still over 150 people on the webinar, so it's really going to be interesting to see what those results are. 80% level, just a few more moments for people to vote. Okay, let me close that poll and let me share the results. So there we are, Leandro.
Okay, so we have 82% of the answers saying no, so we are presenting benefits we are estimating benefits, but we don't know the confidence of that benefit. So again, we have a huge gap here just to guarantee that our companies and our processes will increase. So we need to make some kind of sensitive analysis to guarantee that what we are presenting have a specific confidence level, so we can compare different initiatives. So, thank you, Merv. So, in one hand we have the investment, in another hand we have our 4 instantiated benefits: business growth, cost reduction, efficiency, and legal compliance. So the process will be very easy. The process is, I need to compare the amount of money that I will spend with a confidence level specific, defined, and in another hand, I will get the money, I will get the benefit, I will get the value of my initiative. So this is a big picture just to finish the previous part. Just to move forward to quickly finish, regarding the prioritization of our initiatives, in fact, we need to define that we have 3 different levels that we need to keep in mind, that we cannot compare different kind of initiatives. For example, if we have an initiative with a specific ROI of 50%, we should not compare that specific initiative with, for example, an initiative of efficiency. Why? Because legal compliance means penalties, means real money, but means credibility as well, and the increased efficiency means only the part of I will release the time of the people, means virtual money, not real money. Okay, so the first level, the first layer that we have is legal compliance. So this is the first priority. Then we can compare the ROIs of increased revenue, means business growth, and reduce cost, because what we have real money in those effects. So we can compare the ROI of initiatives that have the intent of increased revenue with the reducing of cost. But we cannot do it the same with efficiency. I mean, when we are cutting costs, the ROI compared to efficiency is not the same, because we are comparing real money with virtual money. This perspective is based on zero-based budget. Zero-based budget represents a perspective of how we can budgeting our Capex, our investments in the future, and this represents that the company have zero budget to assign to the units, to the areas, the business units, for example. So each money that will be assigned is completely based on benefits. So if you don't have the benefits quantified, I will not assign you any kind of money. Traditional budget is in a positive way. So a positive way means that we will check what was the value that you have in the last period, and we only need to justify the difference, the variations that we have from the previous moment to the future moment. So zero-based budget is, we don't have any kind of Capex, we don't have any kind of budget until you show me the benefits of the initiatives. So again, I will handle to Merv another question.
Okay, so how does your organization decide on Capex for new projects? So we'll give you a little bit longer on this one to look through that. Based on the qualitative benefits estimation, based on the estimated costs, based on the quantitative benefits estimation, I don't know, or other. So, so there we are. How does your organization decide on Capex for new projects? So a little slower on the voting, but we're up at the 50-60% mark, so that's brilliant. Thank you very much for that, everyone. And I'm getting a good lot of questions in for later. We're going to be stretched for time, but we've got the questions. So let's close that poll and let's share those results. So back to you, Leandra.
Okay. So here, as you can see, we have 34% of the answers say us that is based on cost estimation. So what we have here is the way we we do the budgeting of in the companies is based on the cost, not on the benefits. And then we have 28% based on quantitative estimate. That is good. That is really good. We have 8% based on qualitative benefits estimation, and 6% based on, well, other kind of approaches. So with this answer, in fact, the result of we assign budget based on cost, again, we have a huge gap just to guarantee that our companies will increase the maturity of the process. Thank you, Merv. Okay, just to finish and have a big picture and helicopter view here, we can see that well, based on strategic plan, we identify some business cases, and the business cases will allow us to put the value and use the value, the prospective value, just to make the prioritization. If we have, on this case, a go-ahead, an okay to move forward with our project, so we enter in the part of requirements, so collect the needs, to define the scope. Then we go through the project management part, so we will transform the paper, the ideas, into final assets. And at the end, we put the assets, those assets, product, services, etc., into operations. So we collect, we get the benefits tracking just to have some kind of feedback to our top management. So the idea is business case needs to be focused on the initial part, the business case part, that needs to be, in fact, scientific approach. I mean, if we follow the same process, we'll get the same results, two different persons, and at the end we need to measure the estimation that in the first moment we present and was based just to justify our project. So just to finish, scientific business case means that we have an initiative, we put some hypotheses, typically not more than 3. Those hypotheses are benefits, benefit 1, 2, and 3. So we have 2 questions. First one is yes or no, this benefit will occur in the future. So the first answer will be I will check with some techniques, some tools, some methods that we call it as business research methods. So the first answer will be yes or no, and if it's yes, we need to estimate the value, how much, and how much means, again, I need to apply some business research methods that could be regression analysis, that could be control groups to isolate effects, for example, cross effects, and that could be market studies, could be prototypes, could be a set of tools and techniques. But the idea is if a second person applies the same process, we'll get the same result. Keep in mind that our benefits needs to be translated into Pereira diamond, otherwise it will be impossible to get the numbers. Just to have a big picture here, we have a business case canvas. As you can see below on the right part, benefits, we have the confidence level. We advise that we should put in the part of benefits and the part of the cost that what is the confidence of the numbers that we are presenting. Otherwise, we can presenting some values that are completely optimistic and will not occur in the future. So just some conclusions. It's completely important to listen the market, so get some ideas from the content, from the habitat. It's completely important to put all the people, all the employees, just to put ideas, just to put initiatives, just to propose and make some rewards on this. It's completely important that to start the process in mind, so when someone is asking you for money, please first ask for the benefit and then you talk about the money of the investment. Budget is only a mean to achieve the benefit. Don't forget that the budget is not the objective. The budget is the energy to achieve the objective. Uncertainty is a fact and needs to be estimated, so we should make some kind of sensitive analysis just to have an accurate business case and ROI estimation. And don't forget, is completely important as well, 2 different persons, 2 different people must achieve the same conclusions, the same results when are presenting a specific business case. So just to finish, a last statement from us. The biggest problem for an organization, in our point of view, is its assumptions. Okay, so thank you to everyone. I will hand over to Merv just to see if we have any questions.
Okay, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for that explanation, Claudia and Leandro. Very, very clear. And it kind of amazes me that you've given such a clear explanation in English. So congratulations on that. I think a lot of that will be familiar to us. I've noticed that on the line we've got one or two benefits management gurus, so that's absolutely brilliant. I won't necessarily name you and embarrass you. Time-wise, I don't think we've got time for too many questions. Maybe we'll have a go at two, and then the rest will be Q&A. So first one I've got here is, do you think the Pereira model can be successfully applied to public service organizations?
Are you asking as Merv?
Yeah, I guess it seems it's your model, Leandro. So maybe both of you can apply that to public service, and perhaps you could drop back a slide as well, Claudia. Yeah. Lovely, thank you.
So the idea is yes, but when we are thinking in the part of business growth, that part is not the aim of public companies. So efficiency, yes, cost reduction as well, but business growth, no. At the end, well, in fact, what we do and what we develop in this perspective of social ROI, the Pareto diamond is not the same. So the dimensions of Pareto diamond, we can apply the efficiency, we can apply the cost reduction, but in fact we cannot apply the business growth, the increase of revenues, because it's not the objective of the company. But at the end, for example, if we are investing into a project, a healthy project, for example, in a healthy sector, and if we are investing in system water, just to purify water, for example, at the end, what you want to have is a cost decrease in hospitals. So you can make this kind of counts. You will not make the counts of the benefit of health for the final person, but you can make counts regarding the part of the cost avoidance. So in fact, this social ROI needs to be more developed, but this particular part, the dimension or the perspective that you can put here regarding the cost reduction, the cost avoidance, or the efficiency increase could be completely applied.
Okay, that's brilliant. I think we've got time for just one more, which is the model at conflict with innovation projects where speculation and hunches are encouraged?
Okay, innovation projects, again, the question is, what is the main objective of that specific project? Because the value of that project is not on the project, but the effect, the benefit, the effect that we will have with that specific project. For example, if we want to make an innovation project to launch a new product, what we want is a business growth, is attract new clients. So the main point on this is to keep in mind that the value is not on the project, is on the effect. And this effect that we want to have needs to be very careful regarding the part of a strategic project that we advise not apply this concept, because persons use the word strategic just to not justify the project and just to say that our project is strategic, so we cannot make counts. But this could be an error regarding the decision. So if it's so important, if it's strategic, we need to make accounts. And make accounts means we need to identify first part, what will be the benefits on Pareto diamond dimensions, and then we needs to apply some business research techniques. For example, what will be in the perspective of a client, in the perspective of the competition, in the perspective of new geographical areas, what will be the acceptation or not of what we are developing. So innovation project could be in a very early stage, but we want to achieve, to reach some objective, some benefit with those kind of projects.
Okay, thanks ever so much. I think we're going to have to finish up there. I've had a warning from Colin, so people can see the slide here with the upcoming summit. I'm sure you can't have missed that, so do take a look at that. We'd love to see you at any of those events. Also, you've seen the email addresses there for Leandro and Claudia. Do please contact them, connect with them on LinkedIn, and to find out more. They will provide full Q&A on your excellent questions that we've got. And if you are one of the Twitterati, then please tell others about the upcoming summit and other plans that benefits SIG have. So all that remains for me to do is to thank the speakers very, very much for their time, for an excellent presentation, and thank you all for attending. So that's really it from me.
Thank you, Mark. We would also like to leave a last word thanking APM, thanking you, and of course thanking the audience to spend this 1 hour with us. So you have our contacts on the slide, so feel free to contact us for any question or any doubt that you may have. We will be happy to get back to you. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you one and all. Goodbye.